Do you want to win a Cooler Master Devastator 2 keyboard and mouse combo? Make sure you leave a like on this video and you can enter the giveaway through the Gleam link in the description. Hey, what's going on, you guys? So I'm back with another PC build, and this time we have a guest, and his name is Easy PC. He runs his own channel. What's up, man?
How's it going, dude? I'm really glad to be here.
So he does pretty much the same thing I do, commentaries and a lot of budget PC builds. And today we're just going to collab, and we're going to be bringing you a $400 build.
Yeah, so this build, we just went over it. We discussed each part, and we really think this is going to be a great bang for your buck if you're on a low budget but you still want to play some games. Like this can definitely easily play GTA 5, Battlefield 1, CSGO, Minecraft, even The Witcher 3. It can play a lot of games that you'd probably be interested in playing on a low budget, as well as, you know, keep in mind that you're not only getting a gaming machine, you're also getting something that can edit videos, edit pictures, you know, so it's also not only a gaming PC, also good for, you know, other workstation tasks as well.
Yeah, it's just an all-around budget build. So to power the PC, the main brain, we went with the G4560. We couldn't really stretch the budget anymore for an i3 or a Ryzen because we were really constricted with the $400. But the Pentium's, it's going to get what you need done. It's going to play pretty much any game out there without any bottlenecking. AAA games, esport games, it's going to be enough to edit light videos, Sony Vegas, Photoshop, whatever you really need to do, or your office work like Word, whatever.
Yeah, the G4560 and the Ryzen 3 1200, I believe, actually have the same base performance. It's not until you overclock the Ryzen 3 1200 that you see a big gap. But on this budget, the price difference was very crucial in the build that we had the extra $40 to spend elsewhere, because at the end of the day, any well-optimized game is going to draw mainly from the GPU, and we wanted to focus pretty much all of our most of the budget on the GPU so we could have a good gaming PC, because that's what this PC is meant to do. So as long as this processor doesn't bottleneck, you're good to go. And this PC, or the processor, once again, I'm sorry, will not bottleneck the GPU. So at the end of the day, we're good. And furthermore, it does have hyper-threading. So even though there's only 2 physical cores, there's actually 4 cores in total, two physical and 2 theoretical, which means you're actually going to get better performance than you might think.
Yeah, so basically for the money, it's your best cheap CPU under $100. So we had to get a motherboard that was also cheap. I didn't want to spend any more than we had to, just get the bare minimum. So we got this MSI B250M. It's the specific model number Pro-VD, and it's the micro ATX version. It comes in at $65, and I mean, it has 2 RAM slots. It supports up to 2400 megahertz RAM. There's no special features. It has metal reinforced PCIe slot, which is nice. It doesn't look bad. It looks decent. For $65, you really can't complain.
Yeah, it also has onboard USB 3 headers, as well as SATA 6GB per second ports. So it's got everything you're gonna need. Nothing super fancy, but MSI is obviously a reputable brand. It is a micro ATX form factor, so you're not gonna get anything like we said super extra. But the main thing that we went for was a motherboard that is gonna support 2400 megahertz RAM, because at the end of the day, once the cache of the CPU is used up, it's gonna turn to the RAM, and 2400 megahertz RAM has actually been shown in benchmarks to boost the performance of the CPU, especially in heavy heavy hitting tasks. So this was definitely a good call.
Yeah, so when it comes to memory, like, our budget was so strict, and just a year ago you could have got the same memory for $10 cheaper. So we wanted to get the cheapest RAM that had a heatsink, and that was 2400 megahertz. So we were able to find a 4GB stick of Crucial Ballistics. Now we really wanted to go with 8GB. We were really pushing for it, but with the budget, it was not worth sacrificing the GPU or really sacrificing anything else. So we just went with one 4GB stick. It comes with a nice gray heatsink. It runs at 2400. It's cheap. I mean, you can't really ask for anything more.
Yeah, like we said, like he just mentioned, there's not a lot to talk about with RAM. I mean, RAM prices have actually been on the rise recently for whatever reason, but you know, most games it would be ideal to have 8GB of RAM, but if you actually look at the benchmarks, there's not a huge impact on performance, because the first and foremost, the most important part of the build is going to be the GPU. That's where all of the 3D rendering is going to go. Secondly is going to be your CPU, and then lastly the RAM is probably going to be the third most important thing as far as order of importance. But you know, we really wanted 8GB of RAM, but we just couldn't seem to do it. But we were able to get 4 gigs of RAM, and it is 2400 megahertz. So this is also going to leave for more upgradability potential in the future. If you did want to spend the extra money, you could definitely pick up a second 4GB stick, and then you'd be rocking dual channel memory, and you'd have 8GB right there.
Okay, yeah. So with the GPU, we really tried our best. We got it squeezed in just above budget, like 60 cents over budget. We made it. We got the 1050 Ti from Gigabyte, and it was important to get the 1050 Ti because you just can't go with anything lower for modern AAA games. This GPU came in at like $141.99, and it's going to play any title out there, high settings, medium settings for the really demanding ones. You're going to get a solid 60 FPS, 100, 200 FPS in esport titles, and it's really just an all-around card. We got the base model that comes with one fan, no special features. We just got the cheapest one that was there, and the prices of these, they're going to fluctuate a little bit between 140, 150, 160. That's nothing we can do about it. It's due to the Ethereum mining, but try to pick one up for the cheapest that you can.
Yeah, I actually have a page on my website about Ethereum mining if you guys want to read more about it. If you're not aware, Ethereum is a new, well, it's relatively new. It's a new cryptocurrency, kind of modeled after Bitcoin, but it has a bit more features, including smart contracts and things like that, which actually I believe it's going to take off and become bigger than Bitcoin eventually. But to cut to the chase, when Bitcoin first came out, the AMD cards saw a huge increase in price because they were, miners quickly found out that they were excellent at mining for Bitcoin, and there was no other card to use, so they turned to that, and they were all bought out of stock. The prices skyrocketed. Eventually, something called an ASIC, or Application Specific Integrated Circuit card, was developed, which is specifically for mining. Once that launched, the prices of cards went back down, and then they became normal again. Well, the same thing happened twice. Ethereum came out, or it became very popular, I should say, sorry, and then everyone bought up the cards, and that caused the price of graphics cards to skyrocket. And even though the 1050 Ti isn't the best miner, with all the other prices going up, the price of this went up as well, so it's a bit higher than we would have liked, but we still managed to get it into the build, so we're happy about that. And it is a very power efficient GPU, and it's gonna do, like you said, very well in esport titles and other games as well.
Yeah, so in the end, it basically came up back to its MSRP. There's nothing you can really do about it. We got it in the budget, and that's what counts. For $400, you're getting an excellent 1080p card at high settings. So for the case, we found this special deal on Newegg, and it really stands out to me. It's the Roswell FBM-X1 Micro ATX Mini Tower case. And the reason it really stands out to me is because for 23 bucks, you're getting a case with a side panel and USB 3 headers. I mean, you can't really find any other cases with a side panel until you get to the $40 range. And it's really important to some people. I think a side panel is just amazing to have on your PC to see what you built, and it's going to hold all your parts. It's nothing fancy. It only has one hard drive bay, but I mean, what else can you ask for $23? It's a steal.
Yeah, definitely. This case is definitely a steal. Like you said, there's only one internal 3.5-inch bay and only one internal 2.5-inch bay, but on this low budget, you're not going to be rocking multiple hard drives anyway. And it does support the motherboard, which is what it's important. It's got USB 3 headers. It supports the video card. It is a mini tower case, which means it's going to be a bit smaller than most mid-tower cases, so you're going to have to fiddle around with the cable management to make it work, but it does have good reviews, and it should, it worked just fine. And like we said, the side panel window is really a big plus. I know that, I put a lot of work into my PC personally, and I like to be able to sit at my desk and look inside sometimes and just, kind of think to myself, wow, I did that. And I just think that having a side panel is, I think it's a must-have for a lot of my cases and my builds, but we definitely were able to fit it in the budget.
Yeah, so basically to end off, pretty much we just have the power supply and the hard drive. So power supplies, their prices, they're just all over the place, $30, $40, $50 for the same one. It really just depends on which day you're shopping. But today we were able to find the EVGA Bronze 450 watt version. Comes in at $32 on Newegg. I mean, it's going to power all your parts. It's enough to support up to a new graphics card if you ever decide to upgrade, or a new CPU. It'll last you, I don't know, five years or so. I use EVGA ones in all my builds personally. I've never used anything else. And I mean, they're just the best power supplies for your money when it comes to a strict budget like this, in my opinion. I'm not sure, EasyPC, what do you?
Yeah, most of my builds do feature EVGA. I'm also a fan of Corsair power supplies. I have one in my build. They are a bit more expensive. Honestly, I don't think there's a huge difference. I've just, I know that personally my Corsair hard drive has lasted me for many years, no problems. But EVGA does have good deals, especially this power supply. It is a bronze certified power supply, so it is going to save you some energy, which is also going to obviously drive your electricity bill down, which is also important. You want to spend as little money as you possibly can. And this power supply also has 2 PCI Express 6+2 pin connectors, which is more than enough to power the GPU. I don't even think the GPU requires an extra power. I think it's gonna
runs off the slot.
I think it's gonna run off the slot anyway. But it is a decently power efficient power supply for the build. I mean, this build only is rated at 191 watts anyway, as these parts are very power efficient, so shouldn't be drawing that much power.
Yeah, and there's nothing you can really say about a budget power supply. I mean, it's going to run the system, it's 80 plus, that's really all you need in the end. It's not modular, but that's pretty much expected for the price.
So lastly, the hard drive, the storage unit that we chose, we just went for we weren't able to fit a 1 terabyte hard drive in the budget, which is kind of unfortunate, but at the end of the day, 1 terabyte of storage is, I mean, it might be overkill for some people. I know that I've never even come close to 1 terabyte that I've used in my build. So we went with the Seagate 500 gigabyte pipeline, I believe it is, hard drive. So this hard drive is only 500 gigabytes, but it's definitely going to get the job done. I mean, you can definitely store plenty of games, recording, stuff like that. And you can also upgrade to another hard drive in the future if you really want to. But this hard drive is going to be more than enough, and it's definitely going to get the job done and do what you need it to do, which is, store your files.
Yeah, there's nothing really you can say about a hard drive. It's 25 bucks for half a terabyte. That's a pretty good deal considering a terabyte itself costs 50 bucks. I don't know, I think it's a good deal. You're gonna get solid performance out of just a hard drive. There's really nothing else you can say about it.
Yeah, and you can't expect that much on a budget like this. Maybe on eBay you could find a cheaper deal if you found it on auction. But guys, there are some parts you can definitely get used. You could definitely buy a used graphics card, maybe even a used CPU. I actually have used memory in my build, which has worked fine. But I would definitely advise against buying a used hard drive because it obviously stores a lot of sensitive information. I would just steer clear of all of that. But if you wanted to, you could probably find some of these parts used on eBay and then just get a 1 terabyte hard drive. But yeah, other than that, that's gonna be the end of the build. We really hope you guys enjoyed the video. We hope you found it informational, and you can find the links to all of these parts as well as a PC part picker permalink cart in the description. If you're watching this video from my channel, you can find a link to TechHow's channel in my description. If you're watching from his channel, there's going to be a link to my channel as well as my website. But yeah, that's all from me. You have anything else to say?
Yeah, to end it up, like you said, with the eBay, one specific thing I'd like to mention is if you're looking for a used card, look at the GTX 960s because you're going to get the same performance as if you had a 1050 Ti, but they're usually pushing only $110, $120 or so. But yeah, like you said, you can find links to his channel, my channel in the descriptions, and that about wraps it up for the build. I hope you guys did enjoy, and we will see you in the next one.